Hi, it's me, Jennifer Montgomery. So, me and my puppy, we're back from Key West. And I've been thinking a lot just about, of course, Key West in general. 'Cause it's been such a special place to me just in my life. Of course, it's magical and it's beautiful and it's paradise. But also just reflecting about like not living there anymore. It's been about a year, and it's always interesting because people always ask me like, oh, when I say that I don't live there, they're like, oh, are you crazy? How do you not live in Key West anymore? Which that statement alone is very telling, because that just tells me that people literally have no idea what it truly is like to live in Key West, especially now under current economical circumstances and political circumstances, and just the way our world currently is. Key West has been transformed. So, my very first visit there was in 2012. And then from that point forward, I had made it a point to be on a come and go basis, visiting, working, planting seeds to actually move there. So in 2016, 2017 was kind of like, my shift to living there full time. And, vacation Key West and living in Key West are entirely different. And I think it's a very alluring place. It's magical, it's captivating, it's beautiful, it's wonderful. There's so many amazing things about Key West, but I can attest that living there is really hard. For the average person, unless you're like a millionaire or a billionaire, then it's a lot easier. But when you are like an average working class individual, just wanting to live your best life, doing what you love, living where you love, it can be really challenging, especially now. Just in the past, I'd say year and a half, 2 years, I know there's been many people that have been part of that, they had one time called like the mass exodus of Key West, which kind of began, I'd say, post Irma, because a lot of people lost things and it was difficult after Hurricane Irma came through. And then once all the lockdowns and stuff happened with the pandemic, I said that, pandemic, in 2020, got even more of challenging. And I can say that's when I really had my eyes wide open as to kind of how the Keys, specifically Key West, operates, how much politics plays a role in things, and how if you really, you have opportunities to have your voice heard, but sometimes it doesn't always happen the way you think. So, those are, some reasons for not living there anymore. Mostly, I'm going to say just the cost of living in Key West is just, it's just ridiculously high. And you can make it work. Obviously I did it for 5 years. I made it work. Wasn't always how I had expected or thought, but it's not going to just be typically from one income source. So, most locals will tell you there's going to be more than one source of income. You're more than likely going to have a roommate or two or three. And it's just, it can be like a consistent hustle. So that peace, and like living the American dream that you think you're gonna have in paradise isn't always the case. And I know this just from speaking with, different people on different levels, and had different, ideas in mind of when they moved to Key West. And I'm talking about people from different countries, people from different states of the United States. No one talks about it. And I like to talk about it. It's important. I think it's important to be transparent and honest and authentic about things. My dog is literally snorting in my lap. So if I look a little distracted, that's why, because he does this. Dude, do you mind? The cost of living was always high. Housing's always been a bit of an issue in Key West. Sorry, it just distracts me. Mambo, enough. Go lay down, buddy. the cost of living's always been high. The housing's, I'm going to call it a crisis because, I mean, I was just there last week and I spoke with several people that I know that, you know, were having issues. So, a lot of it's got to do with money now. A lot of the private landlords have sold or are selling, and then, you know, those properties, they become unavailable to your, you know, your local renter. So when you have a lot of that happening, and then these, you know, rentals become vacation rentals, that just, you know, that narrows the possibilities for locals to live. And you need your locals to you know, to run business on the island and to thrive. So it's just unfortunate to see how it's happened and so quickly. And then of course the cost of living, I mean, like the rents are just, they're exponentially high. Aside from that, like resources can be difficult. I know now even more than ever. I mean, I left last year. There's more places closed, so you just don't have the resources that you would normally have in like a more mainstream mainland place, like, you know, on the grid per se. So you're either ordering things like, say, from Amazon or whatever, or you are going to Miami or Homestead or Florida City or somewhere else that might have the resources that you need or want. Another issue that I found is healthcare, because when you live in such a transient place, you're not going to have the same kind of healthcare opportunities that you would, like, say, in a more metro city or area, because you have all these people from different places, or you have, you know, staff, doctors, nurses, whatever, coming to live there. They still have to pay those costs to live. And, you know, some people don't stay that long. So it's just so transient. Everything there is transient. That was one of the challenges I faced in business and with what I do. It was like, just when I would feel like I was getting settled in with something and going through all the steps and the motions and the paperwork and the, you know, insurance policies, whatever I needed to do to secure a space doing what I love to do, which is my art, say at a resort or on a property, that manager would just leave. So it's like, you're not going to be able to have that same small business team building or networking that you might have somewhere else, where people stay for long periods of time and you know them and you've done business with them for years. It doesn't happen like that there. So that's another, I want to say it's a hurdle. For me it was, because I am a connector. I like to build relationships. I like to communicate, and I like to you know, to connect. So that can be a little bit frustrating, and also it's kind of like it's like Groundhog Day. You're going over the same steps over and over, and to me that's annoying. I don't like that. It's like repeating myself. It's like, okay, we already went through this. Why do I have to do this again? And then it's exhausting. So you know, there's the beautiful vacation side of Key West when you go and you're hanging out and, you know, you're having mojitos and you're drinking cafe con leche and you're going out to dinner and you're going to the beach and going fishing. Yeah, but you're not doing that necessarily when you are actually living and working there. Most of the time you're not going to the beach. You're not going out fishing unless you're working on a boat. It's just, you know, maybe you'll do it for the first couple of months, but after, I'm going to say at least the second year, you know, you got to work. You got to do real life. And the energy there, being surrounded by so much water, that for me was a little bit of a challenge too, because I'm sensitive and I would feel those energies, and sometimes they would just kind of pull me down. So I didn't get that same grounded, balanced direction that I have somewhere else, where things are moving and I have a more grounded energy. So, and that doesn't affect everyone. It affects me, because I'm very conscious, aware, and balanced like that. So if something's off in my environment, I entirely feel it. And that's a place where for me at least anyway, I grew spiritually tremendously, and very, very attuned to my environment, meteorologically, geographically, in every way possible. It's just really, really transforming and life-changing. So Key West, you know, it has its pros and cons, but I think it's important for people to understand that it's just not, you know, you think, oh, I'm going to move to Key West. It's the greatest thing in the world. I just talked to somebody last week, and he was a retiree, and he moved there, I think he said from Louisiana, and he's just like, yeah, like it's kind of like the same day over and over. And basically that's a pretty good way to sum it up, because you kind of do have the same day over and over. That is what it's like there. It's magical, it's beautiful, but there's not always a lot of outside stimulation or influence, unless in you know, like things happen there. This is another bizarre thing that happens in Key West, and I've never had this happen anywhere else in my life. But things can just happen there on a dime, and your whole life will be different. It's just like one day, it's like someone will pull the rug out, and okay, now welcome to your new life. That's how things can go there. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever experienced, but it happened to me on several occasions living there, and I was like, whoa. Like, okay, now what? So those are just things, you know, when people ask me why I don't live in Key West, like, you know, all of those things collectively basically contributed to making a choice that I'm finally at peace with, I can say. You know, I'm fine with being, you know, 7.5, 8 hours away, so I can still go there and be there and enjoy it, work, see my friends, and you know, appreciate Key West for all that it is, but not really be kind of like locked in to that energy, because I was feeling a little stagnant there, and I was feeling like I didn't really have the opportunities that I would like to have. And I'm an opportunist. I'm entrepreneurial. I love what I do, and I love to be expansive and grow what I do. And I was feeling like that wasn't exactly happening for me there at the time. So there you have it. That was my conversation for today about living in Key West versus vacationing in Key West. So basically, if you're thinking of going there, living there, do your research. I always encourage doing your research, because I am, I'm a researcher. So I love to be informed, to make educated decisions, so there's not surprises, and I'm having direction and balanced. And that is definitely something I did before I moved there for a long time, which is probably what stalled my decision to live there full time. But the things that popped up for me were not things that I was going to find in research. They were just life experiences that basically you have to go through that are going to make you stronger. And they're just going to, you know, they're just going to grow your character. So, but aside from that, like know the truth of it, know, you know, the cost of living, know the, you know, what the incomes are, just know weather patterns, just do your research basically, and kind of know your shit. So, and don't go there without a lot of money, because that would not be a wise decision. So anyway, I hope everyone found value in this, and I hope everyone has an awesome holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and that's it. All right, have a good day. Bye.